Good morning, my dear students. Welcome back to RV online classes. So, in previous class, we have discussed about fifth lesson, that is kaleidoscope. So, in this class, we will see the grammar part of kaleidoscope lesson, right? So, I have told you in the previous class only that in this unit, we are going to study about comparative adjectives. So, in this class, we will see that, and also we will practice the spelling words ending in fuel full. So, what do you mean by adjectives? It is a word that tells you more about a noun, right? So, when we will use adjectives, we will use adjectives often to use used to compare two persons or things. We use what is the adjectives to compare two persons or the things. Say, for example, Mr. Shankaran. Mr. Shankaran is as old as Mr. Das. As old as. So when you see that example, Mr. Shankaran is as old as Mr. Das. Just observe this, as old as. In this sentence, the adjective old compares the age of Mr. Shankaran and Mr. Das. Such an adjective is said to be the positive degree, as it shows the same degree of the quality and does not show any difference. This is the base form of the adjective. Can you understand? As old as. This old is telling or is comparing between the age factor of Mr. Shankaran and Mr. Das, right? So, ಈ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಶಂಕರನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ದಾಸ್ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಇರೋ ಏಜ್ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ನ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಶಂಕರನ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಸ್ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ Das. What they are telling here? In this sentence, the adjective old compares the age of Mr. Shankaran as well as Mr. Das. Such an adjective is said to be positive degree. So, such adjectives are called as positive degree. Understand? Such adjectives is said to be in the positive degree, as it shows same degree of the quality and does not show any difference. This is the base form of the adjective. See here, we are not comparing between, we are comparing the same thing, right? Say for example, Mr. Shankaran is as old as Mr. Das. Just say for example, his age is 79. Even his age is also 79. Even though we are comparing between two persons, but we are talking about the same factor, that is age, whose age is same, right? Whose age is same. This is what positive degree says here, right? Positive degree says that if you are comparing between something, there should not be any difference between those two things or those two persons. That is what positive degree says here. Understand? Let me repeat. Just observe this example. Mr. Shankaran is as old as Mr. Das, right? So here we are comparing between Shankaran and Mr. Das about their age. About their age. Here we are not comparing, or even though we are comparing, we are not making any difference with their age. I have given you example 79 or 18. Even Das age is also 18, right? So such adjectives are called as positive degree. Understood? Mr. Shankaran is as old as Mr. Das. We are comparing the Mr. Shankaran and Das age here. Even though we are comparing between these two persons, there is no difference in their age. As old as means as same as. Understand? This is what positive degree says. Understood, na? Compare ಮಾಡಿದ್ರುನು there should be not any difference. That is what positive degree. The man was older than the woman. Older than the woman. See this example. What it is? The man was older than the woman. Understand? Just observe this. Older. Before example was, let me write that. Mr. Shankaran is as old as Mr. Das. This was positive degree. Can you make difference in between these two examples? Mr. Shankaran is as old as Mr. Das, whereas this is positive degree, and the man was older than the woman. We will see what it is. Here, the adjective older is used to show the difference in the ages of the man and the woman. If one person or thing has a higher or lower degree of quality than another, we use the comparative degree of the adjective to describe it. See here, why we are using this older here instead of using as old as or something? Why? Because we are telling the difference between the age of the man and the woman, right? Older is used to show the difference in the ages of the man and woman. Older means it is showing the difference between the age of man and this woman, right? If one person or the thing has higher or lower degree of quality than another, we use the comparative degree of adjective to describe it. So for such things, what we have to say? For this, we will say comparative degree. Comparative degree. So let me tell you how. The man was older than the woman. Understand? Older means woman ginta the man was older, right? So it is telling you difference between the age. Difference between the age, right? So when you see the first example, Mr. Shankaran is as old as Mr. Das. Even though we are comparing between these two, there was no difference in the age, right? So in this second example, the man was older than the woman. Here we can find the difference, right? These two are not exactly the same age. The man was older than woman. So he is elder than woman. So we can find the difference here. For such adjectives, we say comparative degree. They are comparing between the age of the man and the woman. So the age factor is quite different here. If two things or if the persons are differ while comparing, for such adjectives we say comparative adjectives. Understand? Or comparative degree. This is what comparative degree. You found the difference, right? In the first and second example, that is Mr. Shankaran is as old as Mr. Das. I am telling you again and again that even though we are comparing these two, there is no difference between the age factor. Whereas in the second example, we can find that age difference in age factor that older, the man was older than the woman, so there is a difference in their age. So such adjectives we say comparative degree. The comparative degrees of adjectives is formed these ways. So they have given you some forms how comparative degrees are made. If there is no difference, means we say positive. If there is any difference while comparing, that is comparative. Sorry. By adding er to the adjective. This is first thing. By adding the y by adding the y to I, by adding the y to I and adding er to the adjective by and adding er to the adjective, the adjective ends in y. See here. The comparative degrees of adjectives is formed in these ways. So how to form the comparative adjectives or comparative degree? They have given you two forms here. By adding er to the adjective. For the particular adjective, we have to add er so that it will become comparative degree. Long, fast, tall, clever. So in this, let me give you examples first. Silly, hungry, funny. See here. By adding er to the adjective, we can make comparative degrees. So for this, if we add er, what will become? Longer. Understand? So it shows you the difference between the things or the person which we are comparing. Right? So faster is the comparative degree of the adjective fast, tall, taller. Nothing. We have to add er. That's it. Clever, cleverer. Clever, cleverer. This is what how we are adding er to the adjective. If we add the er to the particular adjective so that it can become comparative degree. Understand? So here by adding the y to I. See here, by adding the y to I and adding er to the adjective ends in y. So first thing, what we have to do by adding y to I. Let me show the example. Pretty is here, right? What we have told? First, we have to add y to I. Y is here. Replace that y by I and ending er to the adjectives end in y. Ends in y. So for this, already we have changed this y as I. For that, what we have to add to the end? Er. Understand? In this, you have to keep in your mind that first, whatever the adjective is ending with y, change that y as I. At the end, you have to add er the adjective which is ending in y. Understand? So same thing. Silly, we have to make this silly as sillier to make what is it? Comparative degree. So remove this y as I. For that, what we have to do? We have to add er. Right? We have to add er. Next is hungry. Same here also. Remove this y. After removing, you have to put yes, right? No, we have to put I at the end. We have to add er. So why? Because it's ending in y. So that it will become comparative degree. And the next is funny. Here also same. Replace y as I, then add er to the end of the particular adjective which is ending by y. Understand? In this, nothing, just you have to add er. You have to add er. Here we have to add first I. Change, let me give you like this. Change y as I, then for that I add er. Not for I, for a particular adjective. Put these two in your mind so that it will become very easy to make comparative degrees. So, first thing you have to change y to I, right? By adding y to I, or else you can remove that y so that it will become comparative degree. Add y to I, then comes and adding er to the adjective that ends in y. I have told you for that particular adjective you have to add er so that it will become, what is it? Comparative degree. So third one is also there. You cleared these two, right? The next is by adding more in front of the adjective. More in front of the adjective. Say for example, wonderful, interesting. Wonderful and interesting. So in such cases we have to add more before adjective. More wonderful, and this becomes more interesting. This is how we are changing the adjectives to the comparative degree, right? So next is superlative degree. A sentence that uses the comparative degree usually then after the adjectives. See, when more than two persons or things are compared, we use the superlative degree, the adjective. It shows that someone or something has highest degree of quality. Say for example, Sana is the tallest girl. The tallest girl in the class. When we were discussing about the, what do you say, positive degree, there we were not adding any ers, anything. When we are talking about or discussing about comparative degree, we were adding er at the end of particular adjective. So in this case we have to add est for the particular adjective so that it will become superlative degree. As I have told you, we use superlative degree of the adjective where more than two persons or two things are compared. See here, we are comparing about Sana all over the class. So that we are using EST for the particular adjective so that it will become superlative degree. Understand? This is about superlative degree. Even they have given you some forms to make superlative degrees by adding est to the adjective. In case of comparative, we were adding er, right? The adjectives. Long or short, clever. Nothing, just by adding est, we can make superlative degrees. Fastest, shortest, cleverest. Understand? So next thing, by changing y to I and adding est, same, by changing y to I and add est. Pretty, silly, hungry, fun. As same as comparative degree, there we were adding er at the end of particular, what do you say, adjective which is ending in y. In this case, we should not add er. Instead of that, we have to add est. Same. Change y as I and add est to the adjective which ends in y, so that it will become superlative degree. Silly, silliest. Hungry, hungriest. Funny, funniest. So, by adding most in front of adjective, it will become what is the superlative degree? In the comparative degree, we were adding more, right? If we add more, it will become comparative. If we add most in front of the or beginning of the adjective, it will become superlative degree. So this is about degrees of comparison. We have saw what is a positive degree as well as comparative and superlative degree, and I have gave you some examples. So about this, I'll make PDF and I'll send you into your WhatsApp group. I hope you understood this today's class. If you have any doubts, please ask me. Have a nice day. Thank you.